Hey there and welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to show you how to do time lapse on your GoPro Hero.
Alright, so once you turn your GoPro on, you'll probably end up in the video mode, and you can change it to time-lapse mode very easily. A couple of different ways. You can either tap on the screen and swipe over until you get to time-lapse mode like we've done there. Well, the other option, of course, is to press the mode button here on the side of the camera. Right, so once we're in time-lapse mode, we see down the bottom of the screen here where it says time-lapse, and it tells our current settings. Our current settings I do have here is 1440. I've got a 0.5 second interval, and the lens is currently on wide, but of course it's simple to change all those features if you need to. So on this screen here we can see the resolution is currently at 4K, but if we click on that, you see you have some other options as well. So you can use 1080, 4K, you can also choose 4K as well with a 4:3 aspect, and you can even shoot in 1440 with a 4:3 aspect as well. So these top two are probably better for things like Instagram or TikTok, whereas I prefer just a straight 4K for when I'm using it for YouTube purposes. Now the lens is the next option here. Now there's a few different options you can use. You can use the wide lens, which is popular for a lot of people, that captures a lot of detail. Is the GoPro lens of 16 to 34 mil, so that's a pretty good lens to use. It does sometimes have a bit of that GoPro fisheye kind of look. So when I shoot, I actually prefer to use linear or linear and horizon leveling. That's the one that I really like. There's actually two types of format. There's photo, if you swipe it all the way to the top. The way how photo works is it just takes a continuous series of photographs, which can number into the hundreds and thousands depending on how long you do your time lapse for. This is great, say if you want to search for like that one particular image. So say you're doing a time lapse over a sunrise or a sunset, there might be just that one particular image that you really want. But the trouble with this is that the file size from doing this is really, really big. Many people prefer to use this, professionals prefer to use this because they believe it has more detail, but there's a lot of work in post to make a good time-lapse video. The other option, which is what I prefer, is time-lapse video. So this one here also does a great job with time-lapse. The file size is a lot smaller, and I actually think that it looks great, and will probably come in and will probably be the most useful option for most people using time-lapse on the GoPro. So we're going to stick with video. Down here we got your interval. So with your interval, there's a few different options. You can choose from the shortest option is 1/2 second, which is good for things like high activity locations, like say you're filming on a street corner, or say you're filming sports, those sort of activities, surfing, cycling. And then you can kind of cycle all the way through here. 1 second, 2 seconds, 5 seconds. 5 seconds is probably pretty good for something like clouds. The clouds moving across the sky at the end of the day, and that could be something that might be the most suitable setting for you. So maybe 5 to 10 for that one. And as we move in further up, so now we're getting longer intervals, and it can go all the way up 5 minutes up to 60 minutes. So something like 60 minutes will be good for something like, say you're filming the construction on a building site, for example. Now, this next one here says scheduled capture. So with scheduled capture, you can click on that, and say you don't feel like getting up, say at some ungodly hour in the morning to take some photographs or do a time lapse. You can actually set your timer here for the time for it to turn on, and you can also set it for the duration as well, and we'll actually show you that in just a second. So this is a handy option. So I'll actually turn it off because I don't really feel that lazy at the moment. Now the duration, currently it's set at no limit, but if you want to change that as well, that's easy. Just use the slider. So the bottom section, the bottom option here says no limit, and then actually tells you as you move the slider along the duration. At this duration, your video will be about 30 seconds long. So I'm currently in 5 minutes. So it tells me if I have a duration of 5 minutes, how long my video will be at my current settings, and I can move it all the way up to a duration of 3 hours, but I kind of like to keep it at no limit. If you want to, you could even set a timer delay so you can get in the time-lapse shot if that's your bag. So there's 10 seconds is one of the options. There's also 3 seconds, but I've got no intention of doing that. And there's the zoom as well, which is set to 1x zoom, or you can slide it all the way up to 1.4x zoom. We'll keep it back at 1. Bitrate. So bitrate can range from high, where it uses a higher bitrate, up to 100 megabytes per second, which is going to give you great quality, but that's probably going to be a bigger file size. Or you can keep standard, which uses a lower bitrate, minimizes file sizes, and this is probably suitable for most people. Okay, so the next option we're going to look at here is the EV composition. So this is your exposure value compensation. So currently it's set at 0, but if you want to adjust the brightness of your time-lapse video, you can actually move it up or down to wherever it feels correct for your purpose. Normally it's kind of set around about the middle, or auto. So auto is normally a pretty good judge, but if you want to make your footage a little bit warmer, you can just slide it up a little bit, or a little bit cooler as well, you can just slide it down to one of the lower options. Very blue at that one. So I think I'll probably keep that in the middle at auto. That looks pretty good to me. 100 ISO is kind of great for most purposes, especially daytime shooting. But this is the minimum it will be for your ISO. And then the more important one, I guess, is the maximum. So currently this is 400. So an ISO 400 is pretty good for like most purposes. Say even action activities like kids running or people on bicycles during the daytime. It'll take really great shots. If you're going to be shooting, say later in the day, you might want to consider moving up to something like even 800 perhaps. If you go any further than that, your footage will probably get quite grainy. And your sharpness. So you've got a few options here as well. You can either have the sharpness really, really high, or you can move it way down to the lowest level. But by keeping it in the middle at medium, that means that you're going to have pretty good quality when it comes time to doing your time-lapse video. And the color options, there's two. There's the GoPro one, which is very bright and colorful and a little bit saturated, or you can choose more of a flat kind of color scheme, which some people prefer because they can then add LUTs or other colorization to it in post. But I like GoPro, I like the brightness there.
So this time with the time lapse, we are outside and it's bright and early, Shirley, in the morning. It's probably about 20 past 6. So this time for our settings, we've got it at 4K aspect ratio of 4:3. The interval is 5 seconds. So we're going to leave it out here for a little while and we're going to check out the footage and hopefully it looks fantastic. It's a beautiful morning and from the look of that sky, I think it's going to be a great day.
Okay, so we're outside right now and we're trying to capture this beautiful sunset. This time the resolution that we're using is 4K. The only danger with using the higher resolution is that it's going to use a higher amount of battery. So make sure you have plenty of batteries with you as backup. Or what I've actually got set up here myself is I'm using my GoPro Volta which of course comes with about 2.7 batteries worth of charge just in the battery grip itself. So that's a really great idea if you're doing a long time lapse. Those numbers in the red box at the top of the screen showing you actually how much footage we have. Hey, well, what did you think of that? Time-lapse really adds another dimension to your content. It's super easy to do with the GoPro Hero, and as you saw, the footage can look really, really amazing. If you love GoPros as much as I do, which as you can tell is quite a lot, then you want to check out this video over here next. Just like this one, it's jam-packed full of great tips and tricks on how you can get the most out of your GoPro Hero. As usual, it's been great having your company for this video, and until next time, I will see you later.